ground, as much as a laboratory for several experiments by various organizations. Over the last few months, from March onwards, it had been hijab, and political parties made full use of that. The state government, the Karnataka High Court, has upheld the hijab wearing decision. They are against it, and now it has been contested in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court is likely to give a decision likely this week. Now, having said that, my view also has been that the educational institutions premises should be used only for educational issues, not for anything that's outside it. And those programs which are permitted by that particular school or by the government's education department. Other than this, nothing else should be permitted in the school premises because they are not meant for that. As
what is the political messaging, Mr. B.S. Arun, that the BJP is trying to send in here? If you were to simply put it.
In Karnataka, the assembly elections are just about 6-7 months away, and one by one, perhaps the BJP ruled, the BJP government might be trying its hand to, just test the waters as to what happens if we do this, what happens if we don't do this, that kind of a thing must be.
Mr. Radhan Sharda, I'm coming back to you, and I will take in all the points that B.S. Arun, Professor Chambi Puranik and Ashpreet have raised. My first point, if the constitution says that state-run institutes need to be secular in nature, why allow any organization? I'm not even going to a PFI or a Muslim organization or anything. RSS is an organization which works for the cause of Hindu community in this country. Great work, but perhaps school is not their place.
First of all, RSS is not a religious organization, it is a socio-cultural organization.
Yes.
And it works for Hindus as a geographical cultural entity, not for Hindu as religions, as you understand.
Right.
It never has no program of religious programs in its training camps. That is personal. Please go ahead, and I would ask all the good professors and writers to go visit the camp where it is happening. And you think before the Karnataka government gave this particular school, RSS never had a training program? RSS is having training program, as I told you, for last 97 years.
Sir, or ye training programs we see in the parks, we see in different areas. RSS shakas and training programs are very common. You're right about that. The argument is it should not happen in state-run education institutes.
Let me complete.
Please go ahead,
is RSS working during the school hours? Is it a program for the school student because it's holding the program there? It is the building, it is the ground that it is using. It is not using your students, your principals or teachers. Please understand. Any building which is available for hire or for use to any social organization should be available to RSS also. Why you should say that no, the building should not be used? Every state, wherever you get school building, college buildings are used for various social cultural organizations for use of its property, for better use of assets. What is wrong in that? And is it an illegal activity? No. Tomorrow give to any legal entity, there is no problem. Why you should not? Why you should not use the assets for better purposes?
Because you open a Pandora's box. Today it's one organization. Tomorrow there would be other organization which is a socio-cultural organization, and they would say we are not doing any religious work. Allow us within the school campuses and buildings. It's the state property.
Unless giving illegal activity, do allow them. Unless PFI says that I'm going to train people to kill, to say that you are supremacist, no other religion or no other follower has a right to exist, you must support caliphate, etc. It's fine. Why not?
Well, sir, then let me put it to you, and I'm sure you will not like this argument, that a similar argument was put during the hijab debate, that if I'm wearing a school uniform and I'm putting a scarf over it, what is your problem? Sir, the problem is religious expression, na? The problem is religious expression.
My dear friend, is RSS forcing his uniform on others? Where does hijab come in? What kind of illogical debate for the first time hearing? You are comparing a hijab in uniform controversy to RSS. Training camp. Is RSS forcing his uniform on others?
Can I justify
you will not wear your uniform when you go to schools? No. It's very, very superficial debate you are doing.
I don't think, no sir, I don't think it's superficial, because I understand the meaning of secular in Indian constitution. That we will have all kinds of religious practices, that we are a country accommodative of our... But sir, it is a part of our constitution now, we'll have to accept it.
Into Constitution 1976.
And then it was affirmed by the Supreme Court of India that secularism is a basic tenet of Indian constitution.
Secularism does not mean non-religious.
I am not saying it does mean that.
Secularism which says you are non-religious. In India, secular means respect for all
Okay,
religions.
sir, respond to
It
my
does
second
not
point,
mean no
sir.
religion.
Sir, second point. Is this
India
legal?
cannot live without religion. That is the truth.
I agree. That's the soul of this
Ask
country.
Swami Vivekananda. Read Swami Vivekananda.
I have read Swami Vivekananda with all due respect, but I'm asking you, is this
So
legal?
does he say that, what has he said? He said Indians are religious by nature. It's in their blood. So we cannot become non-religious.
I'm going to give the last word. I'm going to give the last word to Ashpreet Singh Kadial.
We can give respect to all.
Ashpreet, the argument that Ratan Sharda and BJP are making is that this is a socio-cultural activity. And if the building is available to anybody, then why not to RSS? Why are you making a big deal about it? We are not polarizing. You are polarizing.
One, the gentleman said that the government is empowered to do so.
Yeah.
If there is any official notification, any official amendment, any official gazette, I think, they should show it, because the RSS itself is making a U-turn. And number two, he said that, it's just a building, anyone can use it. No, it's not just a building. It's the building of a state-run government school. It does not belong to you. And if the government does not take any action, there are courts.
Anybody can take it on hire. Why not? Why can't any legal organization take it on hire?
We will make sure that this is called out. We will make sure that this is called out. And number two, RSS itself cannot take a stand. RSS is denying.
Well, we only hope that there is a consistent education policy which is pursued by the government of Karnataka in line with the ethos of Indian Constitution, which is the secular nature. Secular doesn't mean without any religion, but yes, there is a line that policy and law has drawn in this country. With that, it's a wrap. I thank all my guests. Shivani joins you on the other side.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Communal violence has once again flared up in West Bengal, this time in the Mominpore area of Kolkata itself. Allegedly, post a flag during Milad un-Nabi was vandalized. We don't quite exactly know by whom. Angry mobs ran riot on the streets of the area, attacking houses and shops, allegedly predominantly of Hindu residents, even vandalizing a Durga Puja pandal on the occasion of Lakshmi Puja. All of this violence first started with an attack on the Iqbalpura police station, where mobs were caught on camera taking it over. If such is the state of the police, you can imagine the terror in the minds of the ordinary citizens. Similar scenes emerged from Mayurbhanj in Kolkata, where Hindu houses were attacked and people were seen leaving their premises. Leader of opposition Suvendu Adhikari has written to Home Minister Amit Shah, urging him to deploy central forces before BJP also carried out a protest march to Raj Bhavan this afternoon on the deteriorating law and order situation in West Bengal. Has this indeed become a new normal in Bengal, where mobs rule the roost and predominantly Hindu minorities in certain localities have become easy targets? No matter what the issue, what the flare-up. For example, the post-poll violence after the results were announced of the assembly elections last year, the target in Bengal remains consistent: Hindus. We will take those questions to our panelists in just a bit, but first a reminder of what's lined up. Coming up is an exclusive conversation with former BJP MP Swapan Das Gupta, who's written to the Prime Minister about the incident highlighting the state of Hindu minorities in some areas. But before we bring you that conversation, let's also break down what we know of really what happened. So a religious flag put up for Milad un-Nabi was allegedly vandalized on Saturday night. That was the trigger as far as we know right now. Angry mobs then vandalized vehicles and property, allegedly only of Hindu residents, pelting stones in response. Mob also surrounded the Iqbalpur police station and virtually took it over. Since then, cops have detained as many as 38 people for creating the ruckus in the area. And today, BJP State President Sukanta Majumdar was arrested as he was trying to visit the affected area. One of the questions that also arises is, why was the opposition stopped from visiting these areas? BJP has also invoked the memory of the ghastly Naukali riots in the wake of this latest communal flare-up in West Bengal. What were these riots exactly and why are they drawing this parallel? This ugly chapter of Indian history took place between October-November 1946 in districts of Naukali in Chittagong division of Bengal then. A series of semi-organized massacres, rapes and abductions of the Hindu community. This massacre of Hindu population started on the day of Lakshmi Puja and continued for a week. And this is why the BJP has sought to draw a parallel of what happened in the weekend gone by in Bengal and also around Lakshmi Puja. Now, it is estimated that 5,000 Hindus were killed. Hundreds of Hindu women were actually raped during this one period of massacre and mayhem. And thousands of Hindu men and women were forcibly converted to Islam. The reality is that major law and order disturbances indeed have taken place in Bengal just since the last 1 year, since the new term of Mamata Banerjee-led TMC government in 2021. It all started in May-June itself, post the result of the assembly elections. Large-scale, vengeful violence aimed at BJP workers and supporters, also Hindu community, post the assembly results. Remember, the BJP claims 57 of their workers were killed, and after much dilly-dallying, even the courts came down heavily on the law and order machinery with respect to post-poll violence. In March 2022, 10 people were burnt to death in Birbhum after being firebombed by a mob. And this episode was a major embarrassment for the party, the TMC, the party in power, as their local people were implicated. June 2022, violence in Howrah after Friday prayers against Nupur Sharma's remark. This violence also kept going on nearly for 3 days before the state government seems to get a handle on it. Again, largely Hindu community was under attack of rampaging mobs. And then September 2022, just recently, clashes between cops and BJP workers that just completely went haywire during the latter's Nabanna Chalo protest. It went out of proportion. Several people were injured. The police was questioned over its high-handedness and use of force. Just as much, the BJP was also questioned for violence during their program. So that's the big question we asked today. Is West Bengal law and order situation truly out of control? And is the state in any way complicit in letting mobs run riot? First, here's a little bit more of what happened, and then we debate.
Our administration is not capable to maintain peace in a portion of a ward, then this administration is worthless. They should resign.
अगर राज्य सरकार नहीं चाहते हैं तो सेंट्रल फोर्स डिप्लॉय नहीं किया जा सकता। ये मांग फालतू मांग है।
First up, listening to this exclusive conversation I had with Swapan Dasgupta, former member of parliament and BJP leader, who wrote to the Prime Minister today saying, the rampaging mob violence targeting businesses and property of the Hindu minority in the Kidarpur-Iqbalpur region of Kolkata is alarming. Here's more. I want to begin by asking you, from the facts that we've gathered from on ground, it is suggested that actually it was a religious flag put up for Milad un-Nabi, which was allegedly vandalized, that led to this escalation of violence in the area. So then would it be fair to project it as some sort of an anti-Hindu violence?
You've got to see it in a particular context of what this area is. This area has become virtually no-go for all administration, police, etc. It runs on its own steam. It is beyond the scope of any administrative or ordinary norms of civic behavior. It's in this context that we've got to see. Today, you can contrive a situation of saying that some Milad-un-Nabi thing, there's some flag was uprooted or something like that, some trivial incident. But the fact remains that there was no communal rioting. There was a one-sided assault on property by a rampaging mob, and the videos are telling testimony to all that. What exactly happened? What we are suggesting is that that the state law and order machinery has completely failed. Can you imagine a police station being taken over? Can you imagine a situation where it is quite evident from the videos that the police are going on tiptoes somewhere here, lurking behind, not taking any proactive role in this whole situation? Why? Because there exists a particular environment whereby some people, as a means of political empowerment, are allowed to do dadagiri. That, in a nutshell, is what it's all about. And this is happening not merely in that Khidirpur region, it's happening in various parts of Kolkata and in the rest of West Bengal. And we've seen evidence of this at every stage. There might not have been a large-scale communal riot in any part, but as we saw during the CAA agitation, the potential of it blowing into something out of control is all the more real. And large sections of the population live in absolute dread and without any protection. And this is what we are highlighting.
Okay. You have written to the Prime Minister drawing his attention to the panic of vulnerable Hindu communities in West Bengal to this ugly assertion of sectarian identity, which you say stem from the distorted empowerment resulting from a belief that one community is above the law and norms of civic responsibility. Can you share with me what more details have you gathered of what has transpired, why you call it a one-sided attack?
Because of the sheer evidence. Our teams have not been allowed to enter that area. But from all the videos and everything that is there, and I urge you to actually play some of them on your channel for viewers to actually see what exactly took place. This was not a riot. This was a one-sided attack. An attack mindlessly destroying motorcycles, mindlessly attacking shops, which were closed incidentally because it was Lakshmi Puja. It's that's really the culmination of the entire Durga Puja festival, is the Lakshmi Puja. And there were Lakshmi Pujas being held in small places here and there, mainly in people's homes. And in this environment, a mob goes on the rampage. I don't see anything. This is what I mean, that the belief that some people have been so empowered that they can stand above the law. There are enough statements of various ministers. I don't want to bring the political angle to it directly at this juncture. But at present, unless the writ of the state is seen to be running inside such areas, we are likely to get this sort of incidents recurring all the time. So what I'm asking is, let the administration play its role, let the police do its duty. If necessary, take the assistance of central forces, etc. But the display of political and administrative will is now necessary. Okay. Alas, I fear this is not going to happen.
Your senior leaders from the BJP, including the leader of opposition, Suvendhu Adhikari, has talked about bringing in central forces. He's written to the Home Minister. We've got another minister of yours earlier wanting to go to the area but was restricted. What do you make of that situation? The fact that BJP leaders are not being allowed to go in. And one of the leaders speaking to CNN News 18 did say that we did allow 48 hours for the situation to be rested. As of today, what we are learning from on ground is there is no fresh violence. Should BJP leaders be allowed, and are more of your leaders planning to go?
Well, I think Sukanta Majumdar he's the state BJP president. Yes. He was stopped from going there, and he was stopped miles away from the area. I think it's only right for all representative, democratically elected leaders to be able to go to and visit these things. The MLAs want to go. Suvendhu Adhikari, who's leader of opposition, he wants to go. There should not be any restrictions on this. We should have a real fact-finding exercise. And if the violence has stopped, good. I'm glad it has stopped. But let us get to the roots of that violence and make sure it doesn't recur.
Mr. Swapan Das Gupta, you talk about panic amongst the Hindu community, the vulnerability that they are facing, and of course similar instances have happened or similar charges have flown from the BJP against the Mamata Banerjee-led government, both in this new term and in the previous term. There's also been an attempt from the BJP to link it to Naukhali riots. Do you believe that that is a fair comparison to make, or is that also sensational?
No, Noakhali riots took place in 1946, and it was a horrific thing. It's etched in the memory of all Bengali Hindus as something which was one of the most unpublicized incidents of the partition business, which Gandhiji made stayed there for many months to restore peace. You see, Noakhali is just a symbol of what happens when some communal force is allowed to go completely unchecked. It was an instance of administrative failure, it was a failure of political will, it was a failure of all sorts of things. People suffered, people were grievously hurt, killed, forcible conversions, most horrible rapes, etc. We're not comparing normally to what's happening there. But what we are saying is, let's not get into a situation where there is communal polarization all over West Bengal. And I fear, if you don't stop this mindless assertion of Dadagiri, you're going to get into that sort of a situation where instead of fear, it'll turn into hatred. And that's not a good idea. That's not a good thing to happen. So this is a preemptive warning. Situation has deteriorated quite a lot, but we must not allow it to deteriorate further. We must get the administration back in areas from where they've been excluded. There can be no-go areas in the state.
Okay. So, Gupta, finally, I want to ask you, you're saying not only is the law and order situation problematic in West Bengal, and that's been a standing charge by the BJP, no-go areas, etc., police not showing enough will, and there not being enough political will. Are you saying that life in general is in danger in West Bengal, but particularly that Hindu lives are particularly in danger in West Bengal? Is that what your stated charge is?
In certain areas, that is certainly the case. That is certainly the case. They live in fear. They can't sell property unless you sell property to a particular, community or something like that. The police, on the other hand, is acting with colossal indifference. There have been cases during the Durga Puja festival of people being murdered. Those were not communal incidents. But what I'm saying is that the attitude of the police people are completely indifferent. The police has been turned into an instrument of the ruling party. And that's really what its professionalism is today at stake. And we want all these normal administrative processes to be restored in West Bengal. There may be political issues connected with communal identities, but they have to be dealt with politically. Today, it's being allowed to go unchecked. One side is just being allowed to go on the rampage. And that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. The polarization which is resulting from this is inimical, in my view, to the larger well-being of society. And that's why it's important that certain steps, harsh steps, are necessary to check this menace.
Okay, I leave it at that. Swapan Dasgupta, thanks a lot for speaking to us. We do await a response from, let's say, the likes of Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and TMC and the government at large in West Bengal. Going across to our panelists joining us, Bharti Ghosh is BJP National Spokesperson, Manojit Mandal is from the TMC. I'm also joined by Abhijit Majumdar, Consulting Editor, First Post, Shikha Mukherjee, Senior Journalist, follows Bengal politics very closely, and Dr. P.K. Agarwal is former Additional Chief Secretary of Government of West Bengal and a former IAS officer. Manojit, I begin with you. Why is it that West Bengal is becoming synonymous with deteriorating law and order situation? And forget about communal rights or not. I read out earlier instances of just law and order flare-ups that have taken place just over the last 12 months. Why is this situation prevailing? And shouldn't the government in power be held responsible?
In 2020 January, 50 people were killed under the nose of the Home Minister in Delhi. We talk about law and order failure in Delhi. And that was, by the way, state-sponsored communal rights sponsored by the BJP in Delhi. Nothing of this sort happened in Bengal for the last 5 years. And despite the fact that this narrative, quite nauseating one, it is well continuing for the last 5 years. and it is being fanned quite appropriately by some of the channels in Delhi. Until 2021, the people of Bengal have answered all these news channels, quote unquote, narrative, and everything should have been put to rest. But we know that there is another election in 2024, where again BJP has to come back to their favorite narrative of polarization, and that's why even if there are clashes between two groups, between two clubs, BJP will come up with their favorite narrative of politicizing, communalizing, and spewing venom like this. And when it is being done by an apparently educated person, the former MP, Mr. Sukanta Majumdar, we have to condemn it because he is doing it on national TV. Don't love the peace that we have in Bengal. We're talking about Durga Puja. We had a thumpingly peaceful Durga Puja, which was wrapped up yesterday with that very colorful carnival led by Mamata Banerjee. We had a very peaceful Lakshmi Puja. Even today we are having Lakshmi Puja. You can hear the sounds of drums and loudspeaker from my place. Nothing has happened.
Yeah,
Yes,
but you cannot deny that what happened in
very
Mominpore
unfortunate.
also did happen. I mean, these
I'm telling
visuals are not a
you.
figment of someone's imagination. This did happen. What happened in Birbhum did happen. The High Court in Kolkata has, of course, lambasted your government and the police over the post-poll violence. We are not making this up.
No. Can I answer? These unfortunate incidents take place not just in Bengal, but even in other parts of the country, mostly in BJP ruled state. I gave an example of Delhi. What happened to 2020?
We discussed Delhi a lot. That was indeed a failure of law and order.
So
nobody gave a free pass to the Delhi police.
When a police officer in broad daylight murdered in Haryana, did you talk about that? When the girls in Hathras, the Dalit girls into 4th September just last month, raped in UP, did we talk about that?
Yes, we did.
Law and order failure? No, we did not. It is only Mamata Banerjee who is singularly targeted for the last 5 years. Even if there are incidents which are very, very unfortunate, whether it is Birbhum or even this incident, you come up, you means the BJP. I'm of course not blaming you because you are very neutral media organization. BJP comes up with this kind of narrative, despite the fact that people of Bengal have answered them, talked about poll violence, investigated for the last 1.5 years. Nothing happened. No TMC leaders have been arrested.
Okay, let me go across. Okay, let me just go across to Dr. P.K. Agarwal, who's former additional chief secretary in West Bengal. When such incidents happen, when this, police stations are taken over, as has happened in Mominpore, Iqbalpur police station, mobs enter it, police is nowhere to be seen. They're making slogans and even giving some sort of slogans to the rampaging violence and mobs. Is it not a failure of state police? Is it not a failure of state machinery? How else is someone expected to look at this?
Actually, such incidents are not are common. When I experience a disturbance state, so nothing to be panicky about it. However, because it is very difficult to prevent a very large crowd, unless fire on the crowd. So such incident should not be taken very seriously because such violence which occurred, this tension between the two communities, this is also minimal. However, the police should also be very professional. They should not only be professional, they should look professional in the eye of all the people in West Bengal. That should be ensured. And that is what lacking in West Bengal. However, I do not find there is so serious a law and order situation in West Bengal that you call as CRPF or Central Police Force, because such incidents do occur. And law and order machinery is there to tackle. And in UP, whenever there is an incident, they are not allowing the political persons to enter into the area. So
but that happened today in Bengal as well. That happened today in Bengal as well.
Yes, so this is all the part of the business. So this is not uncommon that somebody from the BJP side is being prevented intentionally, and this is the decision of the law and order machinery. However, police should not only be impartial, it should also look impartial.
It should be seen to be impartial. So that brings me to the central charge that the BJP is making, that the police is basically acting as an extended arm of the TMC, not so much the government. And the government is not being fair enough, because we predominantly see that when the violence is against the Hindu community, and there are instances where Hindu families are actually leaving the area. They're that scared. And it's 48 hours after the flare-up of the violence. So Bharti Ghosh, respond to that. Why do you allege that the police is not behaving appropriately? Bharti ji, I think you are muted. Please unmute yourself.
This is not the first time. This has happened in Nadia. This has happened in Murshidabad. Before, this has happened in Dhulagar, in Howrah. And yesterday, what has happened is, is a recurrence of what has happened before. Indra Dhanuk, a lady of 55 years, lies in the hospital with 55 or more than 25 stitches. More than 40 motorcycles were burned. Four-wheelers were burned. Gumti, which is small shops, vandalized, looted, and people have left their homes. Now, what did the police do? The police abandoned the area, and when the police station was taken over, even then, the entire police was silent. This not only reflects the failure, inability, and unwillingness of the Mamata Banerjee government, but also a very active, I would say passive under the table, visibly passive, but latently very active encouragement of the wrongdoers to continue with this kind of thing. So it is not only something which has taken a communal shape, but it is something which is very political. The whole thing has been instigated, and there are hundreds of eyewitnesses who tells us that there is a particular person very close to a particular minister of the Trinamool Congress who had a meeting late in the night, and this was followed by this kind of violence. So why doesn't the police arrest them? Why doesn't the police arrest those people who are visibly seen destroying houses, homes and shops and other establishment of the Hindus? Why is the police passive?
Okay, can I take that to Manojit Mandal, especially the reference that has come to light, and there are people even from the Muslim community on social media. I'm not saying the police can go entirely by that, but the police can certainly be seen to be proactive. There are 3 individuals whose name has been highlighted by locals. 2 of them seem to be connected to TMC leaders. Manojit, can we expect a fair probe here? We know what happened in Birbhum. For the longest of time, Mamata Banerjee-led government kept underplaying the incident, downplaying the incident.
Who is now investigating Birbhum incident? It is CBI, and I tell you with full responsibility that the people who were arrested by CID in Birbhum are still being interrogated by those same CBI. They could not make any fresh headway in that particular investigation. Similarly, here also, at least 40 people have been arrested. Those criminals, whether they are Hindus, Muslim, we don't care. We got the information that there are certain groups which were fighting among themselves, and because of that, what has happened has happened. I mean, what the very failed police officer on TV was trying to tell that those mobs should have been shot at. That's what they're trying to say. There was some agitation. There was some get out of the police station. The police talked to them, and the matter, and the please stop. You have been a failed officer. You are charged of corruption. Don't forget that. You are running away from investigation. Don't forget that. So please don't lecture us. The police talked to them. The matter was resolved. No violence has been there for the last many hours.
The police stations are no longer functioning. There is no police station in the criminal justice system.
The police
stations are being taken over by the hooligans.
Functioning.
So where is the police station? Where is the active policing? Where are the police
That's why you are goon.
Complete abandonment of the area. When such thing happens.
Look at this person was a civil servant at one point of time.
We have seen yesterday Mominpore, and we are seeing this continuously over a period of time.
You have been, madam.
People are running
you have
away.
Been a civil servant. Don't behave so uncivil on TV.
Of the police
you have
station.
Been a civil servant.
Where are the police officers? Where is the
that
government?
you have been a failed civil servant. You are proving on TV
From
that you are
law
a
and order
civil
system, the word
You have been a
police
failed civil servant that you are proving on TV also. Being so uncivic and so uncourteous.
Manojit, I asked you one second. Manojit, let me come in. 2 of my panelists have not spoken. Manojit, the specific question I asked is that here 2 links have emerged, or at least allegations have been made that local TMC linked people were involved.
The links are being stretched by this failed civil servant on TV.
Please don't make personal. No, please don't make personal comments against any panelist. No, Manojit, please, let's be respectful. You don't need to attack her personally. Manojit, I cannot allow it beyond a point. Manojit, I cannot allow it beyond a point. You will not like it if a statement is made against you. Please just answer to the subject and to the question.
I'm answering to the subject. If a person who is a failed police officer...
No, sir, I mentioned there are people online, even from the Muslim community, who have highlighted the role of 3 people.
From a distance, this BJP people can understand who is behind this incident.
No, not a BJP person. There are people, other people who have made this charge.
Well, I tell you, the police has already arrested about 40 people. Police
the injured lady in the hospital. Instead of lecturing here,
Okay, let me bring in Abhijit Majumdar. Abhijit, the memorandum that the BJP, one second please, the memorandum that the BJP has submitted to the governor just now says that Hindus are being tormented, ruling party in state is backing miscreants, Hindus have been humiliated, harassed in Bengal and living with a constant sense of agony in the state. Cops did not take any action despite being at the spot. Stone pelting and looting happened in front of them. Are these charges valid, that the state is complicit, or is this also blowing it out of proportion? Abhijit.
No, absolutely. I mean, these are not Trump. I mean, there is a clear pattern, Shivani. Again and again and again, this is happening. You cannot, go by saying, blaming it on BJP, this, that, whatever. I mean, these instances have been happening. People have been, burned to death. Families have been burned to death earlier. People have been killed and hung from trees. We know about what is going on in Bengal. See, the thing is that yesterday, even as you rightly said, even Muslim handles from Khidirpur, Mominpur area, they have been saying that, listen, these 2-3 people are clearly behind this and they should be, arrested, because even the Muslims in Bengal, especially the local Muslims, they understand that the situation, in this whole greed for Muslim votes, the situation is being taken to an extreme from where it will be very difficult to, handle the consequences of all this. You just compare the police action. Police is, police may as well, give up the uniform and wear, white and blue. Look at police response during the protests. I mean, they were beating up mercilessly when BJP were protesting against, on the Kolkata street. Look at yesterday's police response. Police was missing. They were hiding. They were completely not there. So
let me also remind you, after that BJP protest that went out of control, none other than Abhishek Banerjee came out and said that if I was in the place of the police officers, I would have shot them in the forehead.
I would have shot, huh?
And here exactly. We see the police is not even present when ordinary citizens are being attacked.
So the police know that they're, they also love their, jobs, no? They want their jobs at the end of the day. They know which side of the bread is buttered. So they are completely absent because they know that against this community, there is an untold law. And this is borne out by, by large sections of people in West Bengal that, it is a complete carte blanche. They can do anything. And that is not good for that community as well.
Okay.
They have, at least some of them have started to realize this.
Because ultimately it results in life, loss of life, property, and obviously of just normalcy not prevailing. Shikha Mukherjee.
Exactly. I mean, if it goes into a whole vicious cycle of violence, and if backlash begins to this,
why do you have
it is not going to be.
Just
it's it's not going to be.
That's what you have been
Monojit, you were calling somebody uncivil just 5 minutes ago, for butting in.
No. But you are not a political person, I guess, sir. Are you speaking with BJP?
I respect
it.
So. I may differ with your views, but I would hear you out.
No, but I was stopping as person who was speaking on behalf of BJP. You are not speaking on behalf of BJP.
No, I am not. Obviously,
so how can you malign my state like that?
No,
You've been
it
saying
is
the
my
same thing
state
for the last
also.
2 years.
Hello,
That's
hello.
what I
It is
said.
as much.
You have
It is
been
as much
saying
my
the
state
same
as
thing
yours.
for the
Come on, yeah.
last 2
No,
years.
what
You have been
you
saying
know.
what? Come on here.
No,
What's
no,
come
it
on here?
is
You
no,
have
no.
been
It is
saying
my
the same
state
thing
as
for the
well.
last 2
It is
years.
as much
Did
my
you get
state.
into
What do you
result
mean?
of that?
Maligning my
You
state.
have been lying. Yeah, yes. You are running a footage which is actually played by none other than the black magician called Amit Malabha. On the basis of that, you are making your commentary. Amit Malabha has been internationally disreputed as a black magician, right?
Who?
He practices black magician, Mr. Amit Malabha.
Who are you
And
talking
on the
about?
basis of that, you are commenting.
No,
Are you the police officer? Did you talk to the police officer of that
ridiculous. I mean,
area?
are you
Did
talking
you
about
talk to
Amit
the
Malviya or
police
somebody?
officer? No,
Are
you
you?
are apparently a journalist.
How is it even
Okay,
linked?
one second. I think we need to focus. We need to focus on the subject. Manojit, I'll come back to you. Just hold your horses. I'll come back to you. Not like this, please. Can I just go to Shikha Mukherjee? Shikha Mukherjee, I almost get a sense that the TMC representative wants to believe that nothing has happened. Obviously, something has happened. Something has happened in Birbhum also. Do you believe that this carte blanche that Abhijit was mentioning, this is becoming a problem for the current West Bengal government, where even some of their own cadre or people associated with the TMC have in the past been caught, let's say, in Birbhum, and nobody seems to be in control anymore. That situation has gone out of control, even of the TMC and of the government.
I will take this question in two parts. One is that in the immediate context of the Iqbalpur, Mominpur area violence, the situation is now under control. And because it is under control, I think that things need first all governments, all administrations do one thing in a communal riot, which is bring the situation under control. If it is under control, then things are working. However, and this is the second part of the question, which is that across West Bengal, there has been a problem of intense politicization of the administration as well as the police. And this is inimical to the governance of the state. There are enormous problems associated with politicization and patronage of the political class of local administration and local police. These are issues that the Trinamool top leadership, including the chief minister, needs to urgently address and change, because it will happen. It will happen willy-nilly that she will lose control of a lot of things at the ground level, and that is going to be dangerous. Why? Because at this point in time, the confrontational politics are in West Bengal, centering around the politics of division, which this Iqbalpur situation, I think, very clearly brings up, with Amit Malviya link, sort of comparing this incident to Noakhali, where 5,000 people died, where Gandhiji camped for 4 months, is a kind of exaggeration which is designed to instigate further exaggerated reactions on the one hand, and to sort of drum up a kind of frenzy that could result in a
further polarization. Clash. Okay.
It's a clash of the worst kind.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is where the larger overall control of the administration and the police
is required. No, ultimately, if the BJP benefits from any such episode taking place, then it is even greater interest of the TMC-led government to make sure such instances don't happen. Because yes, political opponents will try to take some political mileage of it. But Abhijit, you wanted to respond to the point on the Noakhali violence.
Yes,
Abhijit.
Let me intervene for a minute.
Yeah.
There is no way in which you can actually predict when a confrontation or violence will occur.
That's true, ma'am. But it is also on the state and the police the responsibility to nub it in the bud.
You cannot allow mobs to be running rampage. Obviously, after 48 hours, it has come under control. That's where what I mean. That it is in the interest of the state to bring it under control immediately.
Let us not exaggerate. I think one of the worst things that one can do in a situation like this is exaggerate.
I'm taking that point of yours to Abhijit. Whether the bringing of the Naukhali riots, as I asked Swapan Das Gupta also, Abhijit, was an exaggeration or a link that shouldn't have been drawn?
No, it's not a one-to-one analogy, which is what Noakhali, obviously Noakhali and this Mominpur, they're incomparable. But why the Noakhali analogy came in is because the timing of the attacks. You see, Bengal has in its genetic memory the fact that on Hindu festivals, Hindus had seen the beginnings of worse genocides. Whether it is Maimansingh, the Kali Murtis being targeted, or Noakhali when it started on Kojagari Lakshmi Puja. Even yesterday, yesterday was Kojagari Lakshmi Puja in Bengal, and the violence happened then. So obviously, there will be at least parallels in time in terms of timing, if not the scale. There is no comparison in scale.
Right.
It's it's beyond exaggeration what happened in Noakhali and this one. But the timing, it hurts. It is hurtful for Hindus to know that in their land they can be targeted at will. Especially
during
on
their
festivals.
Okay.
It is perverse. It's sadistic.
Okay.
It must stop.
Okay. Bharti Ghosh, very quickly before I go to Manojit Mandal. The allegation against you is that you're also using all of this politically and especially creating a frenzy in the public of West Bengal, possibly even nationally, because you want to raise the sentiment of anti-Hindu charge against the TMC government.
Please don't give us the opportunity to raise this charge. Arrest the wrongdoers. There are hundreds of eyewitnesses who have named these people, who have caused the rampage yesterday. We are waiting for the government to take action. The government's inaction in Nadia, Murshidabad, Howrah, and yesterday rightfully justifies our claim that the government is following an appeasement policy of a particular community, which they have given complete immunity to do whatever they want. And this is not our allegation. It is our stand against the Mamata Banerjee government. And we want the government to take action as early as possible. Otherwise, we will react and we will take action.
Manojit, I'll have 30 seconds only, please.
They are born with this kind of problem. For the last 100 years, it is proven beyond reasonable doubt. Look at maximum number of communal rights, I repeat, take place in BJP ruled state. For the last 5 years, if you take the data, over 30 to 40% increase in communal rights in UP, in Gujarat, in Assam, in other BJP ruled states. Bengal is a very peaceful state for the last 10, 12 years. You have tried your best to inflame communal tension, but failed terribly.
Okay.
And look at this kind of competition. The leader of the opposition said that there are ISIS, Al Qaeda, and so big terrorists in Bengal. That's what your love for your motherland, for Bengal and Bengali.
Okay.
Bengal
I want to give 30 seconds to the former IAS officer on the panel as well. PK Agarwal, given what has transpired earlier in Howrah, even in Birbhum, there have been instances, that took place just after the government came to power. Even the courts have actually lambasted the administration. Do you believe that the administration does need to do more? For example, in this particular case, the fact that local people are identifying the mischief, the miscreants in chief, and we're not witnessing any action. Do you think that's the least that should happen?
Yes, I agree. Because nobody is telling these areas, Sidipur, Mominpur, Iqbalpur, these are criminal infested area and smugglers den. So these criminals take an opportunity to take revenge against police. So this is a great opportunity for the police to arrest all those criminals who were involved and not involved, because they are the people who organize this crime. And this area, there's nothing compared to Noakhali. This is nothing. It's a simple criminal activity which was transpired by the criminals of the area, and this everybody knows.
Okay.
And so we need not be very panicky. I am sure the police will take very stringent action
Let's see. Let's see if there's indeed a crackdown on the criminal elements you're talking about. But the reason we talk about panic, our aim is not to spread panic. Let me make that absolutely clear. Our aim is to discuss the situation in Mominpur. But there are stories emerging of certain residents and Hindu residents leaving their houses. That's not an ideal situation, and a remedy must be made of that. I leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Time for a very short break. On the other side, all the details of the latest wave of explosions, missile attacks in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv and 9 other cities, along with the day's top story.
महत्व की बात कि महाराष्ट्र की जनता का विश्वास भी उद्धव ठाकरे की शिवसेना ने खो दिया.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah is on a 3-day tour to the northeast and he visited the Kamakya temple in Assam's Guwahati, sought the blessings of goddess Kamakya. He was accompanied by the Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma. He also visited the Golaghat district to inaugurate the 2-day conference of the Superintendents of Police at the Police Training College. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman slammed Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao after he renamed his party from TRS to BRS. She alleged that the name was changed due to belief in occult practices. She further added that KCR stopped going to the Secretariat or inducting women for many years in his cabinet based on advice given by his tantric. Telangana Education Minister hit back at the Finance Minister, saying there were 2 women ministers in the KCR cabinet for the last 3 years. KCR Cabinet Minister further added that it's embarrassing on part of the Finance Minister that she is not informed on basic information. Telangana BJP President joined in hitting out at KCR. He added that KCR has been performing tantric pujas for few years now, and it was a tantric who instructed him to change the name of the party to prevent losing elections. After the railways changed the name of Tipu Express to Wadiyar Express, AIMIM chief has attacked the central government by tweeting that Tipu Sultan irks the BJP because he waged 3 wars against his British masters. He further added that another train could have been named after the Wadiyars. BJP will never be able to erase Tipu's legacy, he said, as he was scared that Britishers even scare them now. BJP was quick to hit out at the AIMIM chief. Amit Malviya, the IT cell chief of the BJP, said in a tweet that BJP does not want to erase Tipu's legacy. On the contrary, it wants to show its true legacy. Malviya further added that Tipu was a barbarian who oppressed and tortured Hindus and Christians. Politics has erupted over the Mahakal corridor in Madhya Pradesh. Congress has claimed that the budget of 300 crore rupees was allocated for the beautification of the city by the former Kamal Nath government. Remember, the first phase of the Mahakal corridor, which was built at the cost of 856 crore rupees, will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi on the 11th of October. Amid the ongoing debate regarding population imbalance, AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi has lashed out at RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat. Owaisi added that the population of Muslims isn't increasing but falling because of their use of condoms.
Total fertility rate वो 2% हो गया, माने इंडिया का फर्टिलिटी रेट बहुत ज्यादा गिरा और सबसे ज्यादा अगर TFR रेट गिरा मुसलमानों का गिरा. सबसे ज्यादा कॉन्डोम कौन इस्तेमाल कर रहा? नहीं, ये बताने के लिए हम इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं. मोहन भागवत इस पर नहीं बोलेंगे.
After Election Commission froze the Shiv Sena logo and forbade both factions from using it, Uddhav's faction hit back at the EC, calling the action unjust and stating that the EC is working on the same lines as the CBI. He said that the logo has been frozen long back by their faction.
7 तारीख को हम लोगों ने 4 बजे उनको सारे कागजात दे दिए थे. उनके आपस में संवाद अच्छे ठीक नहीं थे, इसके लिए उनको पता ही नहीं चला कि हमने दे दिए. अब सुनवाई कुछ भी नहीं हुई, निर्णय ले गया और निर्णय लेकर उन्होंने हमारा जो चुनाव चिन्ह है उसको फ्रीज कर दिया. क्यों नहीं करेंगे? क्लेम करेंगे, हम करेंगे, लेकिन ये कब होगा? जब जांच होगी तब. ये चुनाव आयोग भी उसमें ही गया जिसमें CBI ED हो, जो हम लोग लाइन में उसी लाइन में चुनाव आयोग.
Congress's presidential candidate Shashi Tharoor has expressed the need for reinstating strength in the party to gain voters. He said that the Congress has to run the country nicely, also adding that the BJP should prepare themselves to sit in the opposition in 2024.
परिवर्तन हमारे पार्टी में चाहिए और ये परिवर्तन ले आने वाला मैं सोचता हूं कि मैं हूं परिवर्तन की उम्मीदवार। बदलाव के लिए मैं खड़ा हूं, तो मैं मांग रहा हूं आप सब लोग के समर्थन। ये मैं डेलीगेट्स को कह रहा हूं, तो मैं आपके सामने ये पेश कर रहा हूं।
Haryana Home Minister Anil Vij has hit out at AIMIM chief Asudin Owaisi for his comment on declining Muslim population in India. Vij rebutted and said that population should further drop down and hum do hamare do should be followed.
AIMIM के चीफ असदुद्दीन ओवैसी जी ने कहा है कि हिंदुस्तान में मुसलमानों की आबादी गिर रही है। अगर गिर रही है तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, परंतु इसको और गिराओ और इसको हम दो हमारे दो तक लाओ।
Prime Minister Modi inaugurated the solar village in Modera in Gujarat. Modera has been declared India's first renewable energy village. Prime Minister is on a 3-day visit to election-bound Gujarat, where he will be inaugurating development projects over 14,500 crore rupees.
मोढेरा के लिए विकास की नई ऊर्जा का संचार हुआ है। बिजली पानी से लेकर रोड रेल तक कौशल विकास और स्वास्थ्य से जुड़े अनेक प्रोजेक्ट्स का आज लोकार्पण।
Let's get you a quick update that we're getting as far as the war within the Shiv Sena is concerned, the war over symbols and names as well. So Uddhav Thackeray has got the torch symbol. Till further matter is decided, the Thackeray faction has also been allotted the name Shiv Sena Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray to be used in the interim, while party name Balasaheb Chi Shiv Sena has been given to Eknath Shinde. The symbol for Shinde camp is not yet decided. My colleague Shireen Elizabeth is joining us. Shireen, give us more details.
There was in fact three options that were sought from both the factions. Eknath Shinde and Uddhav Thackeray had in fact both given as far as Trishul and Rising Suns are concerned. Rising Sun was denied to both the factions because Rising Sun is in fact the symbol of DMK, which is already an existing party. Apart from as far as Trishul is concerned, that is of course not been given to both the parties because of the religious sentiments attached to it. Hence, Uddhav Thackeray in fact have got Mashal torch, which was a symbol that he has sought from Election Commission. But as far as Eknath Shinde is concerned, he has to, his faction has to give once again three fresh options as far as the symbols are concerned for his faction. Now the name also has in fact been given. The Uddhav Thackeray faction gets Balasaheb Thackeray name, whereas Eknath Shinde gets Balasaheb Ji Shiv Sena is the name that has been given. So now we have to wait for Eknath Shinde symbol, which is yet to be given to them, because all the three options which was given by Eknath Shinde faction as of now has been rejected by Election Commission. So we have to wait for Eknath Shinde faction to get a symbol, and they have to now give a fresh set of three symbols which they think should be their symbol for the party.
All right, Shireen, thanks a lot for bringing us those updates. A quick check of the day's biggest stories, beginning with the news that came in today of Mulayam Singh Yadav, fondly known as Netaji, being no more. He passed away this morning at a hospital in Gurugram at the age of 82 after prolonged illness and hospitalization. A 3-day mourning has been declared in the state of Uttar Pradesh, while the leader's final rites will be conducted in his hometown of Saifai tomorrow.
मुलायम सिंह जी का वो आशीर्वाद, कुछ सलाह के दो शब्द, वो आज भी मेरी अमानत है। उन्होंने संसद में खड़े होकर के कहा था, राजनीतिक आटा पाटा के खेल के बिना कहा था। उन्होंने कहा था, मोदी जी सबको साथ लेकर के चलते हैं, और इसलिए मुझे पक्का विश्वास है कि वो 2019 में फिर से चुन करके देश के प्रधानमंत्री बनेंगे।
President of Aam Aadmi Party's Gujarat unit, Gopal Italia, is under fire after a video tweeted by the BJP shows him abusing Prime Minister Narendra Modi. As per reports, this video is from 2019, but it drew sharp criticism from the BJP leaders and also calls for action against Gopal Italia. Aam Aadmi Party, though, has indicated that it won't be taking any action against its leader, terming the video a BJP tactic to divert attention.
All limits have been crossed. The Gujarat Aam Aadmi Party chief Gopal Italia has used the most objectionable language for the Prime Minister when he said that the Prime Minister is... This is not only an abuse to the Prime Minister and to the position of the Prime Minister and the constitutional position, but it is also a casteist slur that is being made at the Prime Minister who comes from the OBC community. This kind of language only reflects the true character, chal, charitra, chehra of the Aam Aadmi Party.
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has alleged that the BJP can stoop to any level to win the 2024 general elections. DMK Chief Stalin warned his party officials against making careless remarks. He further said that the BJP will try to grab the main opposition space in the state by stoking religious sentiments for political gain.
நடக்க இருக்கக்கூடிய நாடாளுமன்ற தேர்தலில் வெற்றி பெறுவதற்காக எதையும் செய்யும் பாஜக. எந்த கீழ்த்தரமான அரசியலுக்கும் போவாங்க பாஜக, மறந்துடாதீங்க. தங்களது சாதனைகளை சொல்வதற்கு எதுவும் இல்லாத காரணத்தினால நம்மை பற்றி அவதூறுகள் மூலமாக அரசியல் நடத்த பார்க்கிறது பாஜக. மதத்தை, ஆன்மீக உணர்வுகளை தூண்டிவிட்டு அரசியல் நடத்த பார்க்கிறது பாஜக.
Excise Department in Bihar has arranged for a VIP ward for public figures caught intoxicated in this dry state. The VIP ward has been constructed in Samastipur Excise Department to detain VIP persons for 24 hours if caught drunk in public. A two-storied building collapsed in Lahori Gate area of central Delhi amidst non-stop rains in the national capital region. 3 people lost their lives in the incident, including a 4-year-old girl.
This is the said building in a very congested area in the national capital in Old Delhi has just had collapsed. Late last night it is being said that approximately 12 people were still inside these buildings. If you could see in the visuals over here, the TV is still hung over there, and at least 12 people were staying inside this building. All of them have been rescued as of now, but yes, 3 people have died. There is also reports that there could be more deaths in this entire matter.
Ujjain's Mahakal corridor is all set to be inaugurated tomorrow by Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
जो मंदिर का एरिया है, मंदिर परिसर जो केवल 2 हेक्टेयर का होता था, इन दोनों फेजेस के बाद में वो एरिया बढ़कर लगभग 47 हेक्टेयर का होने जा रहा है.
So this is a very huge project. In fact, I have seen it, and it is simply narrating, so many tales of Lord Shiva. So, these murals. From where you have got these artists?
Actually, the artists are from Rajasthan, and all the stories have been taken from Shiv Puran. So, Shiv Puran is our main reference book from which we have got all the stories. And the stone we have used has come from Bansi Pahatpur.
That is Rajasthan.
That is Rajasthan. Yes. ये केवल एक कॉरिडोर नहीं है, ये पूरा का पूरा एक कॉम्प्लेक्स है, जिसमें न केवल शिव पुराण के जैसे मैंने बताया कि म्यूरल्स हैं, और इसके अलावा शिव पुराण से जुड़ी हुई दूसरी जो कहानियां हैं, शिव प्रसंग और शिव के जीवन से जुड़े हुए जो दूसरे उनके अवतार हैं, उन सभी को यहाँ पर अलग अलग भागों में, कुछ पत्थर की मूर्तियों से, कुछ FRP की मूर्तियों से, कुछ अलग आर्ट फॉर्म्स में दिखाया गया है. और जैसा आपने बताया कि शिव विवाह का एक 111 फीट लंबा म्यूरल है, जो मुझे लगता है कि सबसे बड़ा एकाकी जो है म्यूरल होगा, जिससे शिव विवाह प्रदर्शित हो रहा है. और इन सभी की शोभा बढ़ाता हुआ साथ में जो रुद्र सागर है, जो पहले एक सीवर से भरा हुआ एक तालाब हुआ करता था, उसके पौराणिक महत्व को देखते हुए.
Former Indian skipper Mahendra Singh Dhoni has launched a made-in-India camera drone named Droni with advanced features manufactured by Garud Aerospace. It aims to offer solutions for agricultural pesticide spraying, solar panel cleaning and other such jobs. The product is expected to be available in the market by the end of this year. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has hit back after questions were raised on India's arms deals with Russia. Setting the record straight, the External Affairs Minister said that Western countries opted for a military dictatorship in the region as its preferred partner and did not supply weapons to New Delhi for decades. He also further said that India and Russia have a long-standing relationship that has certainly served New Delhi's interests. Russian President Vladimir Putin has intensified attacks on Ukraine. This after Kyiv was accused of blowing up a key bridge linking Russia with Crimea. In the last 24 hours, over 75 missiles have hit Ukraine, claiming over 8 lives and leading to over 30 injured. Ukraine's capital Kyiv has also been hit by Russian missiles. Ukraine's President Zelensky said Russia used Iranian drones in the attack.
Українці. Ранок важкий, маємо справу з терористами, десятки ракет, іранські шахіди. У них дві мішені – енергооб'єкти по всій нашій державі. Київщина і Хмельниччина, Львів і Дніпро, Вінниця, Франківщина, Запоріжжя, Сумщина, Харківщина, Житомирщина, Кіровоградщина, Південь держави. Вони прагнуть паніки і хаосу, хочуть знищити нашу енергосистему, вони безнадійні.
Hurricane Julia has made a landfall on Nicaragua's central Caribbean coast and has dumped torrential rains across Central America. Julia has hit as a Category 1 hurricane with maximum sustained speed of over 140 kilometers per hour. Officials have evacuated over 9,500 to shelter and raised an alert and said it could lead to life-threatening flash floods and mudslides. Finally, I'm leaving you with visuals of actor Ranveer Singh shaking a leg with NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal on the song Khalwali. Thanks a lot for watching.
Namaste and welcome to this Monday edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. Ladies and gentlemen, what is worship and what is prayer? Can we worship anywhere? Can we pray anywhere? A place of worship, does that then define itself to a certain religious denomination? Because there are other religious denominations or theologies which do not even believe in the aspect of worship. From there itself, the context and the way the Places of Worship Act 1991 has been named, labelled to the circumstances in which this act was drafted and the manner in which it was passed in Parliament itself point to an anomaly that needs to be corrected. That is one point of view. And from therein stem many other aspects which believe that this act needs to go. The larger construct being that this is an act, when shortened to POW, which also is an acronym for prisoner of war, tends to hold just the Hindu Astha prisoner. The Places of Worship Act came soon after the demolition of the structure at Babri. Many years later, the courts have turned around and ruled that that structure indeed was built and that area itself was Ram Janmabhoomi. That is the place where Ram Lalla was Virajman. So if a place of worship has a character, then should that character not exist perennially? That's what the courts have opined. Can a structure which had a religious character, which is different to another religion, can it be used, usurped and superimposed with the character of another religion? A, Is that fair? B, does the other religion even allow it? All of these have been dwelled upon and opined on by the courts themselves, including the case of Ram Lalla Virajman. Amidst all this comes the impleadment by the All India Muslim Personal Law Board, which is saying there will be communal unrest if this act is done away with or if the court hears this matter. So the courts are being told, don't hear this matter because there will be communal unrest. So much for constitution, debate, points of view and respecting the opinion and the wisdom of the courts of our country. That there are entities which will turn around and tell the courts, you hear this matter because I want you to hear it, or don't hear this matter because there will be communal unrest. Listen to what, and let's have a look at what this impleadment motion says, ladies and gentlemen. It is urging the Supreme Court not to hear pleas challenging the validity of the places of